Okay, so this is Mackenzie. This is one of my dogs. This is the one that had the double FHO. And walking patterns is a big thing with him to keep his hind end in proprioception. I do like have bloody work with him. I do a lot of platform work with him. But we also do a lot of walking patterns because he just needs to be able to place his hind end appropriately. And you may see at times where he just doesn't want, he goes sideways or backwards rather than actually flexing and turning. And that's just part of his problem. So I've got some real high value treat. I have some chicken. Oh, you see it? Boy. Okay, we're going to get you to back up a little. Come on. Right here. Right there. 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 Good boy. Yes! Good man! Slow him down. Give him a little bit of leash to let him go and speed up a little. Come on. Yes. I know you can smell the chicken. Let's go. We're going to turn and go the other way next time. Come on. Yay! Sit. Valley guide. There you go. And after he gets done with the pattern, we just give him some treats. Yes. Now I'm going to go the other way to work on the other sides. Always do it in both directions. There we go. Side. Yeah. This way. Good boy. It also means he's got to listen to me. Come on. Good boy. This way. Yes. Yes. Come on. I know it's kind of a squeeze. Where are you going? Over here. Can't cheat. No cheating. Good boy. So we wanted to cheat a little bit back there. I don't have as much room as I would normally have in this room because I'm putting down some new flooring and there's a whole bunch of stuff on that wall over there, so I don't have the full size of the room as I would normally, so we're kind of squished over in here. The next set of exercises that I do with him, walking-wise, is circles. And with circles, we start out with a big circle, and then we start getting smaller and smaller. Definitely want to have something in my hand. And then I'll just crumbs in the floor. Come on. All right. So we'll just start out with a real big circle. And then I'm going to begin, where are you? Check on this a little. And then I'm going to begin to spiral in. Now, it's going to get harder and harder for him as we spiral in, because it means that he's going to have to slow his front end down and use his back end to swing his butt around. There we go. And see, he wants to back up because it's hard for him to do this with his back end because of the way, because of the FHO. So, I'm going to start out a little bit of circle again. Go. There, look at that. That's better. That's better. Much better. Yes. And then we'll go in the other direction. Start out with a little bit bigger pattern and then make it small again. He does do better on one side than he does on the other. That's just the way it is. Circle. We're going to circle. Come on. I know. I know. And get your chicken out. There, now you're paying attention. There you go. Come on, Spider-Man. Get in here. Get in here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Yes, sir. Yes. Now, if I don't get dizzy, he certainly will. But what this forces him to do is it forces him to flex his spine either way as we're making the circle smaller. And the other thing is it makes him slow down his front end, and then he has to use his back end with bigger steps to make that tight circle, which is what we want him to do. So, these are the two of the walking patterns that I use with him. The next thing that I like to do with this dog is a tip board, not a wobble, but a tip, because it forces him to shift his weight like this, back and forth, across both of those legs and hips. Where'd he go? There he is. Come here. Attaboy. You pull the harness, get over the back end. And what I'm going to do, put his back feet down. I'm going to get hold of the harness here. And then I am going to get on the board. Come on. There. And as I do this, he has to shift his weight a little bit. I know. There. I have to hold his back end here a little. He wants to cheat. There. There we go. And this forces him to shift his weight from one foot to the other as we shift. And then I might space his feet out a little, which forces that shift even a little bit more. And then what he eventually ends up doing is resettling his feet to where he's comfortable. He always puts the one sort of in front of the other, and I try to keep him somewhat even back there. There we go. And I'll do this for a duration. I'll set like a stopwatch. Do this for a duration, and then we're done. And he gets a reward. Yeah. So. Huh. Yeah. And I get a workout too. I put the rug down, again, because I'm having new flooring put in here. And all I've got is concrete. I want to make sure that he's got some footing. The last thing I'm going to show you with him is what I do. Now, with him, rather than using a disc, I tend to use the bone because of his back end. The disc, because of the way that it curves like this on the edges, makes it a little bit more difficult for him. So I use the bone because it's a little bit more level, but there's still work to this because there's still how much air you put in it. This is about medium. Yeah, we're going to do this. And what I like to do with this is, again, trying to get hold of them here. And what I'm going to do is put his back feet on the bone. There you go. And his front feet up here on the chair. And then I'm going to come around this way to square him up. See, this is what he wants to do. He'll put his back feet there, but he wants to throw all his weight forward onto his arms. And I'm not going to let him do that. He needs to balance and throw that weight back onto his back feet, and not his front feet. So, yeah, there you go. See, he wants to throw his weight down on his legs again. There. So what I do is I hold the treat up here, and that forces him, especially if I can get his head back a little, or push him back a little, good boy. That forces his weight back. Good boy. Again, really high value treat. It's chicken. He likes his chicken. I know. Trying to get a piece. It's all stuck together. And again, I'll put a duration on this and set a little timer. The other kinds of things that I can do when he's in this position is I might waggle him a little bit from side to side so that he has to shift his weight around a little. I'll actually put my hands on him this way because I can really begin to feel his body and these muscles back here working as we do a little. Good boy. He's got himself all spread out here in the front again. Okay, we're going to straighten you up. There you go. Gotta stay up. Look at this. You off or you still on? You're still on. So I get him to stretch. I'm getting him to stretch. Getting him to stretch towards me this time. Look at him rearrange his feet in the back. As he tries to get to the chicken up here. And then I'll shove him back a little again. Yeah. Good boy. Okay. Yep, there you go. So these are just some of the things I do with this guy. Walking patterns, figure eights or weaves, circles. They get smaller and smaller and smaller. Those front feet are almost stationary and he has to use his back end. We do all of this stuff in both directions. Both directions. We do the tip board because it forces him to do this. Really good for those hips. Really good for those leg muscles down in here. And then this. Doing this with the bone, the chair, means that he needs to balance in a different way on his back legs than the tip board. Because this bone is not stable in a different way than the tip board. So he has to, as he stretches forward, stretches back, stretches forward, stretches back, he needs to be able to readjust his back feet so that he feels that his legs are comfortable underneath him. And these are just 3 or 4 of the things I do with this guy. He's a good man, yes he is. And what I do with these dogs is I set up a schedule, and like I'll have a spreadsheet, and down the left side is the list of the exercises that I want to do with him during the week. And next to each one of those exercises is, or across the top are the days of the week. And then in the morning and the evening is when I tend to do all of their exercises. And what I do in the little boxes for each day is the number of repetitions that we did, any duration. So repetitions, so if, let's say we did 2 sessions of the tip board, what I'll do is put rep 1 and then the amount of time, the duration that we spent tipping, and then rep 2, the amount of times we spent tipping. We'll do the same thing with this, is we will, you know, rep 1, how long we worked it, stretching back. And then like with the walking exercises, how many times we'll do the serpentine, how many times we'll do the decreasing circles, and you know, and that's how I kind of set up the plan for him for the week. Other kinds of things that I do with him is I get him to, oh, I know, this is so tough. Again, is, you know, these are just real simple things. Sit. Good boy. Stand. Okay, stand. Good. Went the wrong way. That wasn't the way the last time. Sit. Good. You're dropping stuff. Stand. Good. And then get him to stand up. Sit. Stand. Yes. Good boy. There it is. Yes, that was it. Uh-huh. Gotta let me get it out first. Stand. Oh, yes. Now you know what we're doing. Sit. Stand. Good. So we'll do sits and stands. The other thing that I try to do with him, and it's very hard for him, is down and stand. Because getting up after he's down with that back end is really tough. So I'm going to go over here. Down. Good boy. Let's see if I can get him. No, I want you down. Down. Lie down. Down. Not a bow. Down. Stand. Stand. Yes! Good boy. So we'll do down and stand. He doesn't really do play bows all that much, but we can do sits and stands, we can do down and stands, and that might be another set of exercises that might be on his thing for the week. It just really kind of depends on what he's doing. In the backyard, he likes to roll a ball around. I've got one of those big non-destructible balls, and he'll just race that around. And it's great because it gets his head down, but he's really got to push with his back end, because he doesn't get so much purchase with his front end because his front end is so close to the ball. So I really encourage him to push a ball around the yard. So that's another thing. So this is Mackenzie. The next dog that I plan on pulling together is my dog Finn. And we'll talk about him when we get Finn ready to do his bit. Okay, so this is my older boy Finn. He's 13 years old. Yeah, he was in the hospital because he had some pretty nasty diarrhea, but as you will find out, he is an absolutely crazy 13-year-old dog. And some of the things that I did with Finn, we did a lot of peanut work with Finn because he was one of my trial dogs on sheep. So with my trial dogs, I really like to work on the front end as much as I like to work on the back end and their core. So I focus a certain amount of time in the front, a certain amount of time on just core strength, and then a certain amount of time on the back. I would spread that throughout the week. With the peanut, I could do things like this. I can do this without all the and get him up on here, stretch him out a little. He works better with this than he does with chicken or anything else because he snaps at your hands. So as you can see, and then I could take and move this around to move his neck around and move his head around. Stretching back out this way again. Then get his butt end up on there. And I could drop his head down. I could bring his head back up. I could bring his head around this way. I could bring his head. There we go. Good boy. Okay. So I can do a lot of those kinds of things with him on the peanut. Just getting more peanut butter. Sorry. So spreading peanut butter on my spatula here. Feet. Come on. Feet. Okay, we can do it this way too. Yeah, he's real good at doing this kind of stuff. There we go. And he will he will do this on the ball and balance going that way. Come here. Now we're going to get him lengthwise, which is easier for him, a little bit easier. Okay. So you can tell I've done a lot of work with this with him because he will, this is not as high as it could be, but he does a really good job of using his legs and using his core. At 13 years old, that's pretty darn good for a 13-year-old dog. So you can see the kinds of things that I did with Peanut, stretching him, contracting him in, getting to balance, getting him front feet on, back feet on, getting him to move his neck back and forth. I mean, you can see a lot of the different things that I did with him with the Peanut. Other kinds of things that we've done with him, again, more peanut butter. Move this out of the way. Is I love doing spins with him because it makes his spine flex. Spin. Good. So, turn. Turn. Good boy. Spin. Spin. Good boy. Turn. Turn. Yes. So it gives him a lot of flexibility. The other kinds of things we'll do is sit. 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 Down. Stand. Yes. Good boy. So he does this really well, much better than my other dog does because his back end is stronger. Sit. Sit. Down. Lie down. Stand. Yes. Good boy. Sit. Come here. Sit. Run up. He's got peanut butter all over. Now you can't grab it. Come here. Sit. Sit. He can't really do the stay there. Good boy. He's not as strong as he used to be in the core. He used to be able to sit really well and dance really well. He doesn't do that quite as well anymore. But you can kind of see some of the things that I do with him. The other thing that was really kind of interesting is I took this bone and we'll put it down, put his back feet on that, and then put his front feet on the tip board and do something very similar to what I did with Mackenzie in a previous video, where I had Mackenzie's back legs on it and was working his back end. I would do both the back end and the front end with him on the tip board with his other end on the bone, making it just a little bit more difficult. Oh gosh. Here, you can have the rest of the peanut butter. He's an old dog. He still brings my sheep in at night. I can't really do a lot of field work with him. He's 13, and he runs out of gas, basically. But you can tell, as a 13-year-old, this dog was really strong. Had a really good front end, a really good back end. Of course, he's very well put together. But we also worked his strength a lot. And it shows because as a 13-year-old, he's still a very strong dog. But now I really focus mostly on his back end because of that dual perineal surgery that he had. And I need to keep his butt muscles really, really tighter. And like I said, with the front end, because you have sheep, he was really good at getting in front of the sheep. And if the sheep would try to spit off either one direction or try to run away, he was really good about getting around and stopping. And that puts this kind of thing, and you see Border Collies do this kind of thing, puts a tremendous amount of load on their front end. So I really spent a lot of time focusing on the front end as well. This is Finn, and as you can see, I did things a little bit differently with him in terms of overall body conditioning, simply because of what he did. So for him, it was all about conditioning for working, going out and working sheep. So, he's a good man. Oh gosh, the other thing I forgot is his tuggy rope. We like to play tug a lot. And tugging is a great way of strengthening the back end, and I forgot his tuggy rope. But, I can bring the rope up high where he has to really pull back. I can bring it down low. He does know how to crawl as well. And if you get him down, he'll crawl along. That's another great exercise. So these are just some of the things that I would do with him. If you look at the back through you'll see it'll eventually say record.
Yes, it's
recording. And you hit that same thing again and it will stop.
Okay. So we have been recording for a bit now.
So, this is not easy for him. It's not easy for us either. No, it isn't. This is when you find out how much this dog actually weighs. Good boy. Yay. That's a good man. I need you to look straight, pupper. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. No cheating. Good boy.
You be cheating.
Good boy.
You be cheating big time.
There he goes. He's still balancing some.
Well, he's cheating in back.
He's cheating. Oh, in back. He's cheating again?
Yes, he is. And it's very hard for me to manipulate him.
Now he's off the disc. This is not easy for him.
Yeah.
There. Good boy.
Good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy.
Because all we're really doing is I'm not really holding him up as much as trying to hold him in position.
Yeah. Good dog, good dog. Open. Good dog, good dog. He really doesn't want to do that.
No, he doesn't.
He really doesn't.
And okay. So we've been working with these little cones and bars. And at first she really did not want to go over these. Now, yeah, she's willing to go over them for treats, which is big. So she's actually willing to do this on her own. You missed it. Yeah, keep going. There you go. There's a couple of things. It's confidence building. She has to go between this barrier and the wall. And she has to pick up her feet to get over these things. So there's a couple of things that she's got to do. One is proprioception, which is knowing where her feet are. And the other is willing to squeeze between a wall and that barrier. Just another confidence building thing. There you go, you found it. Hurry. Really? Oh, goodness gracious me. There you go. Okay, come back this way. So she's going to figure out how to get to And that's, you know, lifting up her feet, it's willingness to go between. Yay! Good girl. She could have made the choice to go around to get to that tree, but she didn't. She chose to come through. So she's making choices. God, getting her over these things the first couple times that I tried this was a struggle because she really did not want to go through there. And we did it without the barrier at first. And then when I introduced the barrier, it was like starting all over again. But this is just wonderful for her. Because it teaches her where to put her feet, to lift up her feet, just to pay attention. Chloe. Where's Sarah? Chloe. Look, right there. That's why she had to turn around in there, which is a little tougher because they're only about 14, 16 inches between cones. So she's done really well with that. And I'll get a video of the other thing that I'm doing, which is a little tougher for her.